Hi, I'm Andrew Watson from Creative Guitar Studio, and in this week's video what I'm going to cover is improvising and fretboard layout and technique, all directed really at just using scales to create improvised lines and melodies. So what I did is I have an MP3 that's going to be available for you to download, and I've got some PDFs of scales and also of fretboard diagram drawings. So to get those, just go up to your right where my YouTube channel name is. It'll say Creative Guitar Studio, and then it'll have the date this video was posted. And under that, it'll say they'll have a hyperlink that'll say more info. If you click on that, there'll be some text summarizing what this video is about, and also it'll include a hyperlink over to my website where there'll be a page dedicated to this very topic. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in getting into soloing and improvising is fretboard layout. And what I would suggest that you do is take a note, a single note, and map it across your whole fretboard. So for our example, we'll use C, and I'll just go and map C out across the whole fretboard. Find all the possible positions of C. And once you've done that, I would suggest probably just putting some chords inside them. Figure out some chord shapes that can lay inside those patterns. And then once you've figured out some chords that fit inside of those patterns, I would start mapping scales that fit inside them. Just go across the whole fretboard and map all your scale patterns out off those octaves of C's. They basically become templates they'll interlock across your whole guitar and allow you to slowly but surely see the whole fretboard as one big friendly place for soloing. So that leads us over into the practice of scales, which you need to do a lot. I would say before most of the students that I work with get decent at scales, they've been practicing them for upwards of 3 months or so. So spend quite a bit of time, work on your major scales and your minor scales and your pentatonics, and then later move on to arpeggios. And once you get into it a little bit, I would also suggest at that time to get into improvising and composing lines. I think it's really important to compose melodic ideas when you improvise, because later those composed ideas basically become your guitar licks. So if you're sitting there and you come up with a neat melody over a set of chord changes, and let's say something like that, you might notice that you find after a while playing that melody that you get a really good sense of technique on a part of that phrase. So that may become a more staple thing that you do often while you improv. There's also areas that you need to work on too, of technique and phrasing. Technique is just exercise-based stuff. Do lots of exercise ideas across your fretboard. It's very important that you have an excellent connection between left and right hand for technique. And the other side, that it's sort of part of technique, but it's called phrasing. It's the ability to play a line and then interlock that up against an equally balanced melodic phrase. So your ability to move from one melody idea to another melody idea as you improvise is basically your phrasing. But there's also phrasing devices that you have available to you. Things like slides and bends, vibrato, both with your finger, and if you have a whammy bar, try and get a nice sound with vibrato with your whammy bar as well. So phrasing devices are really important because they make you sound they give a very human sound to your playing. So bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, legato technique, that type of thing where you just have to work on it quite a bit. And eventually it comes. You get more and more strength and better technically. So what I have to show you today, just on giving you an example of some composed melody and some improvisation, is I've created a jam track in the key of E minor, and I'm just going to play some melodic examples and use some technique and phrasing over top of the changes. So let's go right now to my improv. checked just now was completely improvised, but I did have one composed melodic statement that is essentially, where I'm going with this video. And the idea is that if you can compose a short but quite strong melodic statement and use it, to either start or maybe come into after a run or something in an improvisation, it tends to pull the listener in a little bit more. So my melodic statement that I used was this one right here. Okay, and so that was composed. I came up with that when I was trying to plan out something to play over top of these chord changes. But basically, it gave me something to feed off. It gave me something to create variations on that melodic theme and sort of notes to shoot for and ideas that I would be able to use to connect phrases. Once I start a line and go to a new line, it's sort of on the back of my mind. I always had that melodic statement. I even used it up an octave. I did it over there, and so there's quite a number of things that having a springboard melody statement will do for you. And I think the biggest and most important thing is it gives you a theme to keep coming back to. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that every time you improvise. It's just something that I wanted to bring to your attention in this video that I think will help you a lot in working on your improvising at home. So aside from practicing in fretboard layout and getting your scales together and working on technique and phrasing, which will really give you the ability to play the music that you hear in your head, the technique, practicing it and learning how to phrase better with the phrasing devices like bends and slides and hammer-ons and pull-offs and so forth. They're the tools that really allow you to play the music that you hear in your head. So I hope you find this interesting and you have fun practicing it this week, and I will see you next time. Take care.